I'm happy to see you all here, and I'll be speaking on leadership in the workplace. It's going to be slightly different than the usual inspirational talk that I usually give, but it's more about tools and how you're going to do it. So today you might not leave here on a high, but you leave here with tools, right? So I want to share with you a few tools that has helped me. You may not find it in textbook, or you may find it in textbook, but in the textbook of my life, these are things that are imprinted in my heart. And I'm going to share that with you. And if you have any question, it's simple, just unmute your mic and shoot anytime, or we have a question time at the end. I can always take it up at the end. So if you're good to go, I hope you had a good morning. I hope you had a good day, and it's Friday, so it can only get better, right? And but you know, if you had a bad morning, I don't know. You might not be in good shape. You know, if you woke up at 6:30 and the boss is calling, you know, a thief has a knife under your neck, then might be it wasn't the best of mornings, right? And just imagine if you wake up in such a state, how things would be for you right now, right? You wake up with a knife under your neck, or the boss is calling and shouting at you early morning, you know, then you probably would have a bad morning. It leads up to a bad day. And that stigma can stay with you when you had a bad week itself, right? And a bad month, or that can stay for life when you have a bad life, right? So what I want to emphasize to start with is, you know, the quality of your mornings are very, very important, right? Let me try to play with that, right? So there are many, you know, definitions of leadership. Leadership starts with a vision. We know that leadership is influencing people. We don't cover every aspect of leadership. So I'm being told to speak to you about how about practical things about leadership, how you lead in your job, how you get your job done. So one of the most simple definition, and the talk, this short talk is based around this, is about how you get things done. Leadership is all about getting things done. How I see someone who has leadership potential is you give that guy or that person the job, and you know he comes back with results. He just gets it done. That's, to me, that's leadership. They know how to do the job. They dirty their hands, and they just do it. So how you do that? So it starts with the start. So many people think that their work starts at 8 or 9 or whatever they enter office. So my work, you know, my work starts with a big win. Every day for the past many, many years, I start with the intention to win. You know, I take control every morning of my life, because I know that first few hours of dawn impact the rest of my life. And I'll explain why. When I wake up in the morning, I want consciously to set myself up for success. Because, you know, the quality of my morning, if it's consciously, you know, designed, will have an impact on the rest of my day. And how I spend my days determine how I spend my week. How I spend my weeks will have a net impact on how I spend my month, how I spend the year. And my year multiplied by 60, 70, 80, I don't know how much is left, determine the quality of my life, right? So I have, you know, a very, how would I say, it's personal to me, and I don't mind sharing that with you, how I woke up today morning. And I'll leave you imagining how I should be feeling at the end of my morning routine. So I get up, I slept very late for the past few days, but I don't miss an early morning for the last many, many years. So I wake up and I have, you know, it starts with gratitude. So this morning I was very grateful for what I have. I think about things that I have, and I start by saying thank you to the universe. And then it's a deep, quiet moment of chanting, and affirmations, and to set myself calm. I stay in one of the most lovely places, maybe not for you, but for me. I stay in a place called Cupid. So it's early morning, it's chill, and I'm surrounded by trees, and there's usually mist every morning. There's a very, a light shower of rain, and I close my eyes. I allow myself to drench in that peaceful morning, And after that, I'm in a very in tune with myself. Mornings are not meant to be stressed. Mornings are meant to be in tune with myself. That's how I do it. And then I read a few things, and just to reinforce my own belief and to reinforce my core values. All of you should have your own values, and you should never deviate from that. So I have my own values, and I read about them every morning, because when you go out there in the world, your values will be tested. So I reinforce, I make myself stronger, I make my belief in my core values stronger every morning. And then I get up, it's an hour gone, and I have some fruits, I have a lot of water. I did that today. I have a lot of water and fruits and some nuts. And then it's time to get the blood moving, because I'm readying myself for action now. And then the mind is in a good state. Now you need to get the body ready to go to work, right? And then it's the yoga time and exercise time. And I alternate it, because you can't exercise. I cannot exercise every morning. I get bored. So it's either exercise or I play music. So I'm a trained musician, and I have one of the top teachers, one of the top artists of the world, coach me for music once in a while. I just do that for pleasure. You won't see me in any band. I do that. So once in a while I have a teacher, but I play a little bit of music, and that gives you another release of dopamine, which makes me quite, quite happy. And after that, it's time to wake up the kids. So it's lots of hugging and fighting with the little daughters. It's smile, it's love, and that's it. And after that, today I made some very healthy pancakes. So it was like oat with wheat, and then nuts and pure honey and chia seeds. So I cooked that, and even for the family. So, and then I ate, and it was great. Now, how do you think, when I was after this 3-hour morning routine, how do you think I feel? How do you think I feel? Would I be like shrinking, or like, yeah, come on, life, let's have a go, let's see who wins today? Intentionally, I set out my foot outside my house, to go and win in the world. And that's my intention. And friends, don't think that it's going to be nice, because I am trying to be nice, And that has helped me, this routine, before I get to it, helped me a lot. I'm an open book. I have no secrets at all. I'm the guy, a decade ago, who was known to be the guy with the most fiery character. I could be angry for a whole week, If I'm angry on Monday, I keep being angry till Friday. And the joke in the office today is, beware of this guy. He gets angry twice a year, and he gets very angry twice a year. And I love within myself, because how many people can say they get very angry only twice a year? From someone who was angry all the time to become angry only twice a year. I'm emptied. You know how you are? Imagine a cup. Okay, I'm very cool, huh? So that's my gloss. Imagine this filled with soil water, right? That was the anger inside me. What I did was simple. I poured peace every morning. So when you put in clean water, automatically, that dirty water would go out and you would be left with this white water, clean, pure water. That's what I did. How can you be angry when you do that every morning repeatedly? And I became very peaceful. And peace is important for any leader. You look at the leaders, many are frustrated, stressed out, and I'm so cool. And I'm very happy the way I am. And I am a happy man, right? If you haven't seen a happy man for a while, look at me. I'm very happy. I'm very happy. I may not, you might think that I've got a lot of money, that's why maybe I'm happy. No, I haven't got a lot of money, to be humble and honest, but I live a fulfilled life. I live the life that I want on my terms, and my terms are good terms for me and for the society, right? And peace is very important, guys. Imagine yourself, going to sleep without peace. Sleep without peace, is a nightmare. Sleep with peace is an enjoyable and restful experience. It's the same. Life with peace. You eat food peacefully, right? And you work with peace. No, it changes the whole game. And I understood that. I infused peace in whatever I do. And now, as a leader, why is peace important? A leader needs to read situation. He needs to understand situation better than anyone else. Now, how do you read situation? Well, it's only when the mind is peaceful. Imagine a lake, right? You see the background. Imagine there's a lake there, right? And the lake reflects all these beautiful trees that surround itself. When is the reflection, the image, the vision perfect? It's only when the lake doesn't have any ripples, any waves. It's only when the lake is calm. Similarly, it's only when the mind has the least agitation that it can see its surrounding perfectly. It's only when you're in that calmest state that you can read situation and know exactly what's happening around you and how you react or respond to the situation. That's the job of a leader. That's how my morning routine helps me, And when all the negativity out of you is going out of you, what remains apart from peace is you grow in the amount of love that you have, right? We are all loving beings. Imagine yourself when you were a kid, and then you become sour and sour and sour as you get these bad experiences in the world. And I try to counteract and remove that as well. So when all these negative things goes, more loves, more and more love comes in my heart, fills my heart. And what's that got to do with my work? The best chef, of France was asked, "What's your secret ingredients?" He won, I think, best chef of the world once, and they asked him, "What's your best ingredients? What's your secret ingredient?" He said, "My secret ingredient is I cook with love." Any job, if you take out the mechanics and you infuse love in that, it becomes a piece of art. Just like, Mozart or Beethoven or, these great artists doing the job. That's how love transforms the job. And I think it's not, we can't do what we love all the time, but we can pour love on whatever we do. My job, I'm just a teacher, right? And I love it, and I put so much love into that, and I'm always invited to speak again and again. Because love in what I'm doing, I don't feel. Do you think I'm working right now? Look at me. Does it feel like I'm stressed out working? That's my work. And it's enjoyable because there's peace, there's love, and I enjoy that. But it's gonna be challenged. This state of yours gonna be challenged. I remember one Monday morning, I clearly remember it was Monday morning, right? And Kushila, you need to tell me the times, let me check the time. So we have, yeah. I remember one Monday morning I was coming to work and a lorry hit my car. And that lorry was going to reverse and it hit my car, bang. And as it hit, I could, hold, and he moves a little bit out of my car. And a guy was coming. He didn't see the lorry hit my car. He saw a gap between the lorry and my car. And he was the witness kind of thing, self-proclaimed witness. And unfortunately, I drive a Benz E-Class, and this guy is a lorry driver. And this guy, he's the witness. Now, he has that perception that I'm a mean guy. And it was just in front of my office, and quite a few people, you would imagine, know me. And this guy came out of his car, the witness, and I was speaking to the lorry driver and saying, see, you hit me, but that's okay, what can we do? And this guy started insulting me. He said, can't you see this lorry didn't hit you? You drive a long car, you are like, fraudster, you are this, you are that. And he was literally abusing me on the streets in front of many people. And when there's such a scene, people love to watch, And I was there, and the perception of everyone is I'm the villain, trying to steal a few thousand rupees from someone, a poor lorry driver. That's the perception. And this guy had and was greedy. And I was there, I was there, and I was within myself. He was shouting, but he wasn't reaching me. And within my head at that point was, look at this clown. He's trying to mess up my Monday morning. If I mess up my Monday morning, I'm going to mess up the week. And he was shouting, and I was very calm within, looking at him. And then I said, see, it's none of your business. You better move. He said, you dare tell me to move? And I said, yes, I dare tell you to move. It's between me and him. We don't need any witness. You can go there. And I was slightly, a bit firm when he refused to go. And then he left abusing, fouling the air, and he left. And I was still very calm. Because it doesn't happen overnight. People will abuse you. Many people have done that, especially when you're in a leadership position, and they abuse, and later on they come and say sorry, or they don't. But I'm not affected. This is what they don't know, is that if they are wrong, I may correct them. I can just leave them to their own state. They are wrong, and they have wrong perception about you as a leader. They will say wrong things to you about a leader, and they burn inside themselves, and then burn. Anger is like holding a piece of coal, Buddha said. And that coal burns you, and when you throw it on someone, it burns that other person. But I don't allow that to reach me. I leave them to their state, and I proceed with my life. I want to have the best experience within me. Because remember, the leader needs to be calm. And it doesn't happen overnight, right? Let me tell you the story of two boys. These are the two boys. I'm not sure I'm not finished the slide, but I'll take you through the slide as long as I can. So these two boys were given an option. So the option was whether you want $15 million. One option was, do you want $50 million, or do you want $1 every day for 30 days? But that $1 would double itself every day, The first one is a one-off. You get $15 million, and here we go. So the guy in the blue jacket, can you see him? So he took the $15 million. And the other guy said, no, I want the $1. That will multiply itself every day. And the guy in the blue jacket was laughing at him. He said, $1, what will happen to your $1? You know what's going to happen with that? On day 2, what? It becomes $2, and day 2 actually it became $2. It multiplies by 2. On day 7, it was $64. And his friend had a good laugh. He said, I just don't get it. What the hell? Why can't you choose, the 15 million? Look at me. I have 50 million. You know how we said, I think a bird in hand is worth more than 2 birds in the bush, something like that. So look at you, you have $64 and I have $50 million. And the little boy was quiet and calm. Day 11, the guy came to meet him. It was $1,000. It multiplies itself by 2. And day 16, it was $16,000. And the blue jacket guy had a big laugh. He said, see, I don't know what went through your head. Why did you do that? Come on. And day 20, suddenly it became, it multiplies and multiplies. 16 times 2 is 32, 32 times 2 is 64, and so on. Day 20, it was $500,000. Day 22 now, it was $2 million. Day 25, it was $16 million. You can do the maths. Day 28, it was now 134 million. And day 31, it's $1 billion plus. That is what we call the law of, incremental growth. When you do something in a disciplined manner over time, the result multiplies itself over time, contrary to doing one-offs. I'll give you a very simple example. You might not believe me. Let me give you examples. Try it if you want. Fine, test it, and then you believe it. Brush your teeth. You brush 5 minutes morning, 5 minutes in the evening, right? Push it down. So that makes you 10 minutes a day. It's 70 minutes in a week, okay? So what you do on Sunday, you brush your teeth for 70 minutes, and then you don't brush it for 1 whole week. No one will speak to you. Right? No one will speak to you. But actually try to brush your teeth 5 minutes every day. The impact is actually much, much better. It's the same thing. If you decrease your diet a little bit and you sustain that, over years, you would see a change in yourself. Contrary to these, I won't eat for 1 day and then you mug up all that you get. The rest of the days, you won't see any progress. I told you I'm a trained musician, and when I was young, I used to sit down with my teacher. And those were fantastic, real teachers, And you sit down with them and you play 10 movements of the hands for 3 hours. The same 10 movements for 3 hours. And we did that 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, 4 months. Just 10 movements for 4 months. And after that, I was, I think, close to the best in the class, to the best musicians in the world in that 10 movements. That is the law of incremental growth, is that if you do anything with disciplined effort, the result multiplies itself. And that's why Bruce Lee said that, and it's something that I really believe in. He said, I don't fear someone who knows 1,000 kicks. I don't fear that guy, but I fear this guy who knows 1 kick, but practiced it for 1,000 times. I'm sure each of you must have drawn your own conclusion about what I just told you. And it's been quite hectic for me these last 3-4 days. You know, I've slept late, I've been quite busy, and I have a sweet little daughter, and she always comes in my talk because that's part of my life, right? And I have 2 daughters actually, very cute little babies. So the little one is 5-year-old, and he said, on Wednesday, it was Wednesday, she said, Daddy, I want you to put me to sleep. And I was like quite busy. And I told her, you know, her name is Nitya. And I said, Nitya, let's do that tomorrow, right? Today, Mama will do that. And for me, it's going to be tomorrow. Okay, and that was Wednesday. And she comes to me on Thursday, and I'm still busy, right? And I've been sleeping 1 a.m., 2 a.m. these last 3 days. And she said, Dad, I want you to put me to sleep, and you said you're going to do that today. I said, Nitya, really? Did I tell you? What did I tell you yesterday? He said, you said tomorrow. But I told Nitya, what is it today? Today is today. It's not yet tomorrow. And she was like, she's small, and she got confused and she didn't understand. And she was like, no, you said, you know. I said, no, I said tomorrow. The truth is, you know, tomorrow never comes. Actually, tomorrow never comes. And which brings us to the next topic of Pro-Crastinus. It means it's a Latin word for belonging, which means belonging to tomorrow. And in English, we call that procrastination. It's like postponing what needs to be done for tomorrow, right? And while you procrastinate, and you know, and while you hesitate, what is slipping away? What is going out of your hand is actually not time. There's been millions and zillions of years before you were born, and there would be millions of years after you're not here. So time for me is like almost limitless. I cannot waste time. Imagine I have so much money, can I waste it? It will never end. How can I waste it? I cannot waste time. What I'm wasting is my life. When I procrastinate, you're wasting your life when you postpone what you have to do today to tomorrow, right? And that's procrastination, you know, is that gap between who you are and who you can be. Is that gap between your present self and your best self, between your present life and your best life, between your present state and your goal in life, right? And don't confuse, guys and girls and beautiful people out there, don't confuse procrastination for laziness. Procrastination is not laziness. You know, lazy people are another species, and I'm sure you're not there. You would know if you're there. Lazy people, they don't do the job that needs to be done, and they're absolutely fine. They are even happier. You know these people, you've seen some. Every one of you must have seen some, and I hope you're not one of them. If you are, it needs to be changed, right? That's laziness. But those who procrastinate, they actually want to do it, but they can't push themselves to do it. So let's see how we can be that. To be that, you have to understand what you're suffering from, what's blocking you. And one of the things is called decision paralysis. That's what it is, right? You know, I don't cook. I just started cooking because, you know, cooking for me was going to look for the vegetables, look for the ingredients, you know, wash this and clean it and switch on the fire, look for the light, get the ingredients. Now something is missing, go to the shop, buy that thing, look for a parking, meet a rude guy, and then get into the traffic, come back, start to cook. and then water spill, clean it, wash it, fire, and it was like, go to hell. I'm not cooking tonight. You cook your own thing. You know, it's overwhelming. That's my idea of cooking. When I think of cooking, I think of all these things, and then I ended up doing nothing. It's very similar to an IT attack called, I'm not an IT specialist, you won't ask me more questions about that, but I've seen a few, I've worked on one of these cases. It's called a DOS attack, denial of service attack. So if you want to shut down the server, let's say yahoo.com, what you do, you know, Yahoo is a computer, it's a big computer server. So you send a request. The request is you type yahoo.com on your browser. So I type yahoo.com, and maybe 1,000 people at the same time is typing yahoo.com, and then Yahoo gets all these requests and send you a Yahoo page, and you see that open on your laptop, tablet, or PC, whatever. Okay, that's how internet works. But there's one thing, is that it can handle, let's say, 10,000 requests in 1 second. But there's a program, it's called a DOS attack, is you send 1 million requests at a time, and the computer freezes and stops working. Our brain functions in a somewhat similar manner. There's a number of items it can process at one time, and when there's too much, it feels overwhelmed, and you freeze. Right? Maybe it happens to you. You come to the exams, you look at all the questions, and you freeze. The question is just the same, and you amplify with your mind. That is called decision paralysis, and then you just don't do it, right? So how do you overcome that? If it's too huge, simple. I can't handle this huge weight. I cannot lift 20 chairs at a time. I break it into pieces. Simple. The solution is you break it down into chunks that's manageable. And look at this company. You know, they have a sales target. You break it down into pieces, into size that you can manage and you can handle. Now, let me explain that very quickly to you. You have a $3 million sales to achieve annually as the leader of the office. Let's get real a little bit. $3 million to sell this car. It's only 25,000. How do I do that? What do I do? And then you go back, right? And you start to make your calculations. So I have 4 million people in my area. So one call, trying to get one client, will involve 15 to 30 minutes. We're trying to break it down, right? And 30 calls, you know, in 1 week is on average 600 minutes that I need to call in 1 week. Okay, so 600 minutes, you know, over 5 days is just 2 hours a day. Now it makes sense. Or 2 hours multiplied by 5, that makes me just 10 hours of work a week, right? And from 10 hours of call, I should get at least 10 visits or test drives. And if 10 people look at my car, at least one will buy it every week, right? So over 50 weeks, that makes me $2.5 million. Now, let's not forget, that's the job of one person. I have, you know, other people in my team. So 5 people, you know, this is how much it makes, 6.25 billion. And suddenly, I beat the target, I double the target, you know? And that's what I do. And to make it even more simple, I go into my team and say, let's get 10 visits or test drive every week. Everyone, you need to get 10 visits every week. What it takes just 1.5 hours of focus call and conversation with people every day. That's all. And if each one gets one every week, we'll double and beat the target. You know, from an overwhelming $1 million target, when you put it like this, it's a way to handle it better, right? But it may not still happen for you. You can do that. You should actually, once you break it down, and then you also choose and techniques of how you do that. And then you need to have an execution sheet. Planning is something it goes very, very, very deep. It's not infinite, it doesn't happen. Write it down, you know, you think of anything, you write down the project name, And you write out next to it 3 big things. I need to move the project forward. For example, the sales. I need to have an ad, I need to make phone calls, and I need to have visits, right? I need to get visits. And list the first one. What is the first thing I want to do? For example, the call. So when will I do it? Write down a specific time and block your calendar. Who are the people involved in my team? How will I inform them? Right? When will I inform them? I have to inform them, and I don't. You know, it's sometimes it doesn't happen. If you don't give, a goal without a date and a time, it's just a wish that will never happen. We know that, but yet we don't do it. I'm going to get practical. Things you know, but many things you know, like sugar is bad for your health, and you still eat a lot of sugar. It doesn't matter whether you know this or not. What matters is whether you do it. That's the game changer, action, right? And then what do I need? I need a phone call, I need a quiet place. To do this, I had to create this setup. I have my table, I have my notes here, I have a second laptop here, I have lights, I have this, I have that. I need my glass of water, can I have a sip? It gives me rest. It's important, everything. And what blocks me? It could be fear, it could be, time, it could be useless meeting with the boss, it could be purposeless conversation with my colleagues, right? And how I'm going to handle that. Write it down, how I'm going to create that space and time for me to work and execute on my goal. Write it down. That's managing ahead. And even you have to manage your boss. It's called managing upwards. You don't just manage downwards. You have people up there. You need to manage them. That's leadership, guys. These are the people that progress, right? And how will I know when I've reached my goal? Measure. Don't just give the target. Measure, because what gets measured gets done. If you don't measure, it won't get done, right? And what reward do I get, or my team will get? Is it money? Is it a day off? Is it praise? Is it promotion? It's very important, because that reward needs to have meaning for me. If you give me 500 rupees more, right, to do this talk, maybe I won't do it, because it doesn't make me much richer or poorer, for example. But what is meaningful to me is I need a break, and I need to spend quality time with my family. If I meet my goal, they give me that 2 days off. Make sure that your reward is meaningful to your team, to you. That is motivation. Because who is attached to number 23? Who is attached to number 6 and 6 zeros? No one. You are not committed to a number. You are committed to someone, and you don't want to deceive that person. So as a leader, unless you have a bond with the people, they won't work towards the target. They don't work for numbers, they work for people. So make the reward for them meaningful, right? And let me just check the time. So I just have 5 minutes. So let me move on to the last part before I can take a few questions. And the last one is give up, guys. Know how to give up, what to give up. And I'll tell you, sometimes you need to give up. I had a student, and I'll end on this one. And I won't tell you the name, obviously. And she had an assignment to submit for her final exams, and that was the final assignment. And very sadly, a few days or weeks before submission deadline, she was pregnant, and she had a miscarriage, and she lost her baby. And there's nothing worse for a mother than to lose her child. I mean, that's terrible, and I pray and I hope that this never happens to anyone. But sadly, it happens. That's life. And she called us, And I knew what she was, I knew why she was calling, because she said, this happened, and that was a few days before submission deadline, and we expected that she won't be able to submit her assignment. And she called and said, this is what happened to me, and I need a few more days. And we insisted. We said, no, you don't need a few more days. You submit in the next cycle, and there's no cost. Don't worry about that. Take care of it. She said, no, I want to submit. I just need a few more days. And she completed her assignment on the bed in the hospital. And when the results came, she was first in class. You get that? She was first in class. So give up your lame excuses for not reaching your goals. Look at this old lady, I don't know if you've seen this movie, but something that you have to watch. That's a lady called Lata, and Lata is 65 and 66. She's a very, very old lady, uneducated lady who works in the field and had no money, to treat her ailing husband. And she went to the hospital and didn't have money to treat her husband. And she came out and she was eating pakora, some Indian food, and it was served in a paper. And in that paper, she saw, there's a race, and the winner will get money. And she trained and ran the race in her category, and she came first. She ran, as you can see in her sari, she ran barefooted, and she's never ran a marathon before in her life. And she came first. If she can do that, guys and people over there, what is it that we cannot do? What is it that's blocking you except some stupid, lame excuses? So give up all the excuses of why you cannot do it and find one good reason that will ignite a fire in your belly to go out there and get it done, because leadership is not about being great, it's about hard work. And when you hard work, that greatness, which is maybe you are looking for, is just a byproduct. Greatness is a byproduct of hard work. Thank you for your kind attention.